Hi guys, it's Edis here. So today, instead of doing deck profiles, I'm actually trying to do a little bit of discussion topic or something that I want to talk about. And the topic today is on the collaboration sets, which in here so far we first have a Touken Ranbu, and then we have Monster Strike, and then we have Shaman King. And upcoming, we also have the red card of Ragnarok coming out. In both Shaman King and Monster Strike are also confirmed set 2, where we know the release date of Shaman King set 2 will be somewhere around April next year. So with these coming into play, at first, I think a lot of people might actually think these sets might not actually be that strong. They might create some impact on like the first week kind of thing, and they will fade out. So let's actually look into different titles and see what actually happens. So now we first start with Touken Ranbu. So Touken Ranbu, at first, the starter build is okay, but it's not as popular than other builds. So other builds actually get into top a lot, but through time, if you are like going to see Touken Ranbu still remains when people using it in tournaments, usually this is what I see, because this deck is quite stable. You get this look at your top. It's not too hard to use about your counterblast, so you get your power pump, and you kind of always being able to pump your board with different support cards, and also we can get use of the generic over trigger to pump the power. You also get this card to have you withstand to increase the number of attacks and such. So this deck actually isn't a bad build, and even if you just take this out after like lyrical moments after DPDO3, it's still fightable, still usable, and it's not expensive to play in, like, as long as it concerns the JP side. For English, we don't know yet because the set is not actually released yet, but it will be very soon. And if you are asking me, is Touken Ranbu a set that is good to like invest in and spend a lot of money? I probably would say no. But if you really are a fan of Touken Ranbu and you are thinking, I am buying the set anyway, but are they any good? I would say still yes, because you can still take it to tournament and win some games. It's not that when new set comes out, you just get suppressed and just can't play the game at all. No, you can still use this deck to compete against the current meta. You won't lose every game, of course you won't win every game, because that is how Vanguard works. We have triggers, we have a lot of things that might change how you win or lose the game, but that's the fun part of it. So you can still take this and win some games, and at least this gives you a good feeling. Because sometimes in the past, like when we are in G era and playing Touken Ranbu, which of course there are people actually taking the G era Touken Ranbu and win games, win like WGP and stuff, but that's not a lot. And the set release is like, okay, fans buy it, they make their decks, they play with it, like after a week they just disappear, sometimes like that. But this time, you at least can still see that happens, but because we don't get support that often, so whenever a new set comes out, people will better just stay focused on those decks for a few weeks, and then they will play something else. So you don't actually see Touken Ranbu that much, but if you actually take this deck to a tournament, it's not a bad result at all. And next one, let's also talk about Monster Strike, but I don't have a deck for Monster Strike because my friends playing those, so I don't actually need to invest on Monster Strike if I want to play the deck. But Touken Ranbu I did, because none of my friends are going to do it, and then I get the starters and booster for unboxings, and then I get some good stuff, so I build a deck. But Monster Strike can still top, and in WGP Hong Kong 2021 we also see a second place Monster Strike deck. Now the mechanics of having the gacha system is interesting, but what I don't like about Monster Strike is that a lot of decks requires you to go full power on your personal right turn. But this, to me, shouldn't be the thing, because personal right should be something that you add in as a sub that is a good to have, but it's not something that you should always get, because there are chances that you don't get another copy of your Vanguard for the whole game. So if my skills tells me I need to personal right, does that mean that I am just having a vanilla Vanguard for the whole game? That is not what I like. But of course there are also decks in Monster Strike that can help you a lot, that even without that part of the skill, they're quite strong. Like the plays, you can always wipe free regards from your opponents. The only thing that matters from the personal right is you can't turn your opponent's Vanguard to 0 attack or defense. But the question in me is like, why do we even need the requirement for personal right to be in the first place? I would rather say you get this, and if you personal right, you get something extra, like Magnolia. Of course, personally, I still prefer Magnolia to have a little bit more flexibility instead of just making one back row to attack and then personal right to be free. But at least that's a better version. It's like you personal right, you get maximize of your original effects. That's what I want to see. But with Monster Strike is, if you don't personal right, you don't get another skill. That is something that I don't like. But also, talking about the use rates, I think Monster Strike is actually the set that probably fade out a lot faster, based on what I see. But of course, every place is different. But when people use Monster Strike, it's like, first thing first, okay, gacha system is interesting. The 10-row gacha is so random, and you always get your triggers there, you over triggers there, a lot of keys up there, and you can only use it once. That's all sort of things. And of course the personal right thing that I say, so people have fun of it, and then they just use back their original decks, like from the main set. At least that's what I see. I do know people that love Monster Strike and keep using it. Even one of my friends does, but the problem is still the personal right part. Like, it's kind of similar with Bruce in main set, that you need to wait for a turn to get in final rush to get a lot of effects to go off. But at least that does not require you to go personal right. Like, you just stay for a turn, even if you don't rewrite, you still get your final rush. And there are cards that help you out to cover that once you get in the final rush. So if you go in the personal right, good, you get another 10k plus to the front row. That's a plus, but it's not needed. That's what I see. So Monster Strike, I think they can actually do better. That if they give cards more stable effects and no need to wait for a personal right, they can kind of weaken their on ride or on attack effects, but don't make it too worse, of course. And by making it, I say weakened, I would say it's the mix of on ride and when attack and when personal ride. You mix all these effects together, you make that slightly weaker, like in the middle, like from lower top to personal ride to top, you go to the middle, and you don't require us to do personal ride. Personal ride is still a plus. You get extra 10k to the front row, you get to draw. That's the part that we should care about personal ride, but not when personal ride we get extra skill that if we don't personal ride we don't get. That's something that I don't want to see. And I hope the next set we can actually see something better, and probably we get a better way to do the gadget system. Of course they're trying to like mixing the game mechanic into Vanguard and make it possible, and I think they did a good job on that, but we can still fine-tune a little bit more. That's a part that I always tell my friends we are laughing at. Is like we have the money but we can't do another 10 roll, right? So it's like you can do it only once per game. Maybe there are something that you can allow a single gacha to happen. Even just like look at the top and you can choose to call it or get into the soul, something like that can happen. And I think a little bit more fix on Monster Strike can actually keep people to keep using the cards to play. That's what I think. Now lastly, for now, is Shaman King. So Shaman King, when this released, I first was thinking it might be similar to these, that we get to play a little bit, maybe if they're better then maybe like Touken Ranbu, that we can still actually take it out from time to time. Monster Strike we can also take it from time to time, but less randomness will be Touken Ranbu, so I was thinking it will be something like Touken Ranbu. But when I see the art, of course, some arts are okay, but some are just anime packs, so it's like playing white swords, but it is what it is. And I think they did that with some of the body fight stuff as well, so and also Rebirth, so it's kind of expected, but we are also hoping a little bit more. Then talking about like, is the Shaman King that good? Of course it is. Like, for now you can always still see people take this deck out to like a team tournaments and just normal tournament, because this deck can withstand your Vanguard and gain crit, and it's so easy to get other parts. You can use this how parts to give it power pressure, you can use other parts to give other pressure. There's a lot of ways that you can do. So even now, Shaman King is still a good deck, and still decks that you are comfortable to take it to tournaments and play, and you can still win games. Not only this build, of course, you can still play other builds like I think it's Mephisto. That one is playing cards from the grave, is still very interesting. Horror is okay depending on how you build it. Tauren is actually a very fun deck to play, that you get to wipe your opponent's front row every turn, and you also get to discard every turn. You get high power pumps. So the deck balance in Shaman King is actually very, very nice, that basically every single build is quite balanced. They do get some strength, they do get some weakness, but overall the curve is not like from bottom low to high deep. Of course this deck is a little bit different, but it's only from the starter, so it's not hard to build. Yeah, and like the weaker ones like the Wooden Dragon is not that bad. It's more of a fun deck that we all know, and it's still got a strength that if you act fast, you can actually take games a lot easier. Tauren, I did explain. Horror, if you do tune it a bit, it's actually quite scary as well. Yeah. So, also, that's another thing that I want to talk about in the collaborations that I think Visual actually did a good job is they actually create some good generic cards that of course that will make everyone want to buy singles of those cards, and those cards actually get run out quite fast because we don't actually get so many people to crack stuff, and even if they do, the supply is limited. So for example, in Touken Ranbu, you can find your Mikatsuki gone very fast. This is a must card that you need to have, because this can basically use in every single deck, and if you don't have it, then your deck will be weakened. Every single one, basically every single one. So this is a good one that you give a kind of a generic card for the nations, and they can all use it, and it's a good card. And they didn't go too far with it, so it's not like a generic order that can be used for every single nation, but a specific card that is generic that can be shared within the nation. That is something that is very, very nice to have, especially in the collaboration sets. Since we have right line right now, we actually get our right fixed, so we don't need to worry about that part. We can keep the deck special with the cards that is specific for those right lines, and then we can find ourselves some generic ones, put them in deck, and we are ready. So it's actually a lot easier in deck building, in thinking of what to use. So a lot of people who do not play Vanguard can actually get into the game a lot easier, because what you need to know is you find your avatar, you get the right line, you get the cards relating to them, you know a few generic stuff that you need, then your deck is ready. And of course PGs, right? Same with Shaman King, that we have like Jane, we have the How package, and then we have the Chocolate package, we have the Circuit package. There's so many packages in Shaman King that can be shared in every single deck, so you can even just like say I have a Yo deck, I have a Horror deck, I have a Tauren deck, I have a Wooden Dragon deck, and then I have like one set of How package, one set of the Jane package, one set of Chocolate package, and I can just switch them around for all the builds, and basically the main content will be the same, but the supporter will be different. And like one deck you can have 3 kind of supporter in the deck, so one deck becomes 3 decks. That's making the deck a lot more fun to play with. It's like, of course you will have your preference support units in the deck, but you can always try different supporters that works generically for every single build. So some might say if a specific generic support is like overpowered or something, that this deck will still be using that. But for Shaman King, I think all got their own specialty, so it's fun to try them all out. Some might work a lot better in specific build, some might not, even though they do the same thing. But your main right line is determining if the supporter is good for you. For example, if you use the How package, if you don't get to soul charge that much, you do have the Spirit of Fire to help you soul charge, of course, but if you are a deck that also soul charge themselves, then maybe that helps a lot better. Or maybe your deck actually soul blasts so many times, so much, that you can't afford free souls. Then you don't need to use the Jane package, you don't need to use the How package, but the Chocolate package you can consider, because that only costs you 2 soul blasts, the other costs you 3. So maybe 2 you can manage, 3 you cannot, maybe. So you from the generic package you can always find something interesting to play with, and from there you can create your own build. This is what I like when I first play Shaman King, because as I said in my unboxing videos, I didn't watch Shaman King. It's just like I buy them for basically for unboxing purpose, but then I pull the SP Horror, and then I focus on building that deck. This deck I know is strong because in Hong Kong we get the products late, so we all know what is topping. So, and this is from the starter, I'm like, why not? So I built that as well, and then I also built the Wonder Dragon. And then because I am not going to buy the same supporting package for all 3 decks, so I bought the supporter package for the Chocolate, and then for How I didn't buy the Jane package because I think that may be too much for me, but I can still get to share the contents with 3 decks. So I didn't actually spend too much, but I get to play a lot of builds. And if I want to, I could just buy 2 more Tyrants, and then 2 to 3 more of the support. Then I have another deck. Yeah, so just talking about the collabs, have to say they actually did a very good job on this. We don't know what set 2 will pump the decks, or maybe giving you something that is completely new, maybe, because for example Shaman King we see Yo, and then we see How, but How right now we don't have a right line yet, so maybe How will get a right line. So we might get support for what we already have, plus we get something new, because we from the first set we do get enough support for existing, so they might just need a little bit more spice to be strong enough, and then you have room for new cards. But as of now we have no idea yet. Maybe they will have rooms to pump every single build with a lot of new cards, at the same time giving you something new as a right line, because we always have the generic package that can fit into every single build. So what you need to do is to have a new right line, give them 3-4 card supports, give them some triggers that support their oversoul for this, give these some generic cards that maybe always just check top deck, one to call another one, one that support another one, that always already happened in Touken Ranbu. Monster Strike you can also see cards that are quite generic, that every single deck can use a Tsukuyomi, I think, to bring back something up. You can always use the homes to have fun with your opponents. You can also use the angels to always check the top deck. You can always use Konbachi to minus power, something like that. So overall, I like how the way they give us the collaborations, and I do want them to keep doing that in a good way, because we actually see more and more collaborations, and that's another good thing for collaborations. If you have completely no interest in those titles, you can basically skip a month, because as of now, until the Shaman King set, we actually get 2 things going out in the same month. Usually they don't overlap. This is what I really like. It's like you in the past, if we have a set of something and then plus another set of something together in the same month, this really hurts if you play both. But now we actually get some times to rest while still playing the stuff that we want to play. Even this, we might only get support like once a year, like Bermuda, or maybe twice a year max, like Lyrical if they want to be. But that is still good enough because the deck itself is fightable, and so far they haven't made the other nations go overpower to what we have with these collaborations. Of course, those support will help the deck to run a lot better. For example, from the video that I have with Horror against Sogar, you can see the Sogar deck actually getting the support that helps the deck a lot, while Shaman King Horror we do get some good support as well, but we are still kind of lacking something. But that is not actually making the whole deck like not fightable. You can still win some games, just that it is expected the main set will get kind of better than the collaborations sometimes, because they always get the support. So they're always upgrading, but you also getting some good stuff that can help you last a little bit longer, and then until your support comes, you might go on top of them, you might compete with them at the same level, but at least we can all have fun with the collaboration titles and just enjoy playing Vanguard at the same time using the titles you want to play as a collaborations. Yeah. So I think the video is long enough, but do feel free in the comments below to tell me your thoughts about the collaboration sets. Do you like to see them? Do you think the power level is at a good one, or you think they should tune it a little bit better, or like they are too strong, they might need to tune down a little bit? Do let me know. Maybe you have a different opinion on Monster Strike than I do, maybe, or maybe you don't think these decks actually can stay that long, maybe. But do comments down below. Let me know your thoughts and we can discuss down there. And like this video if you like this kind of topics. I am planning to actually do these from time to time. Next time maybe on another topic, talk about the main set nations, something that new that I want to try to kind of create a discussion topic. And for English, we only getting this coming, and these we still don't have any idea, but hopefully they will also come and people can actually try those out and see what I think. Yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.